Yeah, in order to deal with crisis like this effectively, number one, they've got to be active on social media channels. Number two, they have to understand the power of content. And number three, they have to understand that there are a variety of channels in which to share that content. The successful companies are able to operate quickly, create interesting content, and share it across multiple screens at an amazingly fast pace. The great news about social media is that it allows big companies to appear very small, right? To appear human, to engage with their customers and their stakeholders one-on-one. The age of top-down communication, where companies can issue a message or buy a piece of advertising and just have their message out there, those days are done. It's all about engagement and interaction. I think about it as an opportunity for companies to enhance their reputations, right? We're entering and in fact have been in the age of transparency, where there really are no secrets and the truth always comes out. So companies that use social media to really illustrate and demonstrate how transparent they are the companies that have the best reputations. Social media is one way to demonstrate transparency, but more than anything, the most important thing is how a company actually behaves. The actions it takes, the way it deals with its customers and suppliers. The job of public relations has really evolved. In the past, we really only thought about the narrative and how to tell that narrative to the media. Now we have to think about three things at the same time. One, we have to think about content. Two, we have to think about narrative. And three, we have to think about technology, right? The way we communicate today via social media, through mobile devices, through all of these screens in our lives is really a question of technology. So the job of communications people has evolved. So PR has always been about storytelling and about helping companies communicate with their shareholders and their stakeholders. That hasn't changed. Our job is still to be great storytellers, and our job remains to be to help companies communicate with those shareholders. What has changed is the number of different ways we can do that. I think an example of when it works best is in a crisis where you've got the agency, the internal social media team and PR team, and client executives all sitting together working in real time to address whatever's happening on social media. What doesn't work well is when those things are separated because it takes too much time. It takes too much time to get a decision, to get something approved, to get something out on whatever channel we're talking about. So the best model we've seen is when all of those stakeholders are together in a room next to the guy whose job it is to press send on the tweet or send on the Facebook post. Twitter and Facebook have become the new mainstream media, and more traditional press just become deeper ways of telling the story that happens, that breaks on social media. The other thing that I think is interesting is that you see traditional press now reporting as fact what's happened on social media, right? Whether or not the story being told on social media is true or not true doesn't matter. Traditional media are reporting on the fact that this story is happening in social media. I think the challenge for the PR industry overall is broadening its definition of what a typical PR employee needs to be, right? As we think about new employees, I'm looking for very diverse backgrounds and skill sets. 10 years ago, if you came out of journalism, that made sense. Today, I want people out of photography, out of architecture, out of art, out of advertising, out of, yes, journalism, but all of these disciplines, because remember, it's about content creation. So people who think visually are very important to our business right now, very important. In terms of markets we're looking at for growth and expansion, certainly for Grayling, the US represents a big growth market, which is a unique position for an international PR firm to be in. Asia represents an expansion opportunity for us. We have a strategic alliance with a firm called Blue Focus, which is Asia's largest PR and marketing services firm. And Latin America and South America are great opportunities for us as well. Of course, Brazil in particular is a rich PR market right now with lots of great talent and lots of great opportunities. Of course, times have been tough in Spain. The Spanish recession is now into its 6th or 7th year. It's very difficult. But things are getting better. There is a sense of optimism and a sense of opportunity that as a foreigner I can feel. I can feel a sense of reserved energy, cautious optimism about the market. So the challenge for us, and I think for any firm doing business in Spain, is to get ahead of that so that when the market comes back, when the economy comes back, when things really come roaring back to life, and they will, they absolutely will, we're in a position to accept that and to support that and to build around that. That's the challenge for us.